Yeah.
But basically, Decoding SEO Success is where we break down the SEO strategy of popular software companies so that you can deploy them yourself. And the idea is that reading an SEO guide is all good and fair, but things are always different in the wild. Things are always different on a real website. And so we like to look under the hood of popular companies and teach you what they do right. This time we picked ConvertKit because that's what you asked us for. We had put forward a bunch of email automation, email marketing software tools as suggestions on my LinkedIn profile, and ConvertKit, missing a T, I think, was the absolute winner. And so, yeah, this is what we have today. My name is Viola. I'm not going to introduce myself a lot because you probably came here because you're following my LinkedIn profile, but I run a digital marketing agency called Flow SEO, in which we do SEO and SEA for software and e-learning startups. And I'm super excited that today we have Helene here with me. She joined the Flow SEO team this summer, and she's absolutely brilliant. She writes about SEO. She lives and breathes SEO. She's given interesting talks, and really, really appreciate having her on and kind of like jamming with her today. So Helene, welcome.
Thank you. I guess I will talk a little bit about myself. I'm Helene Jelenc. I'm an American living in Slovenia, content marketing strategist, got my start in blogging like many SEOs and content marketers. I have a background in SEO. I have a master's degree in anthropology, so I'm obsessed with research and culture and how that plays a role in SEO. If you want to see the things that I've written for BuzzSumo, Search Engine Journal, and Flow SEO. I'm hoping to write a bit more in the coming years, and I can pop those links in if anybody is interested.
Absolutely. Awesome. And so, yeah, welcome to everyone here. I'm seeing a few familiar faces and a few new faces. If you want to write in the chat, hello, kind of like where you're at, where you're calling in from, what time is it for you? And then also, what industry are you in? Are you in MarTech specifically? What's your experience with SEO? Kind of like what attracted you to this call specifically? And if you have already any questions on your mind, feel free to add them as well. And then generally speaking, we will be taking questions from the chat as we go along. So there's not a specific point that is the right point to ask a question. Any question is welcome, and any point in time is the right moment to ask them. And so yeah, would love to know where you're calling in from and where you're at. And I just wrote a little hello to get the chat going. Hey, Batul. Greetings to Berlin as well. You might hear a bird whispering in the back and seeing me in a tank top, giving you the impression that I'm not in Berlin, and this is indeed correct. Hi to Austin as well. Hi to Holland, California. Jason, nice to see you here too. I appreciate you. Hey, Rebecca. And so let's dive in. Helene, I'll let you talk a little bit about ConvertKit and what they're about.
Okay. So we'll talk a little bit about ConvertKit and their SEO performance today. They were founded in 2013 as a solution for a blogger to have an email list, to do some opt-ins, you know, the freemium content upgrades that were super popular about like 8 years ago. That's actually how I stumbled upon them. I was a blogger, as I mentioned, and I always thought that their software and their tools they made sense to what I was doing. They were using the same language I was using. They looked nice. They just functioned a lot better than all the other companies that were out there at the time, because they knew that these small creators were needing very simple things and exactly what they needed, rather than throwing in, you know, everything in the kitchen sink into the software. So they have a small business audience, which is creators, content creators, any kind of creators. So we'll go through a lot of this. They do have a really strong DR from Ahrefs 90, over 12 million backlinks, 78,000 referring domains, and over 109,000 organic keywords, which is quite nice. You can see that they've been growing this kind of steadily over time through their SEO optimizations. So we're going to kind of dive into some of these pages here. These are the landing pages, around like the features, the products, the solutions, industry pages. So yeah, we're going to talk about the different types of landing pages, how to rank them, and when not to. And then we will take some questions at the end. So first we did an audit on ConvertKit, and we decided which URL was what kind of content type. Content type being whether it was a blog post, a feature page, a guide, a resource, the home page, the main pages in the navigation. Broke this down and saw that almost 60% of blog posts, which is very traditional in an SEO sense, that's long form, evergreen, lots of guides there. And they are using blog posts as a major driver for traffic. So we will touch upon that a little bit, I think, later. But we're going to also focus on these feature pages here. If we break down all the page types here from ConvertKit, we also have the sum of the total keywords that they have for those page types. So as you can see here, the feature page has over 1,000 keywords. This was a bit of an interesting note for me. I was like, okay, even though you can see the blog post here, 35,000. So definitely blog posts are driving a lot of the traffic, but these feature pages, they occupy, the middle or bottom of the funnel. So the blog post will be top of funnel typically. And then these feature pages, these landing pages, they're going to hit the middle and the bottom. So it's also good to think about optimizing them and SEOing them, or however you want to think about it. And then here, Viola will talk about landing page types.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much. And so today we kind of want to dive in a little bit more on landing pages and ranking for transactional keywords. And the reason being is that's obviously every SEO client's dream, and in the past, when decoding SEO success secrets, we've seen some companies do this really well. And we thought it's worthwhile honing into that and explaining the steps of landing page SEO specifically, because the assumption is that the keywords associated with it are very transactional. People are ready to make a buying decision, or at least they're doing a commercial investigation. And so the chance of getting an interesting lead is much, much higher. And then also, even though traffic might be lower compared to a blog post topic, the perceived output or the perceived values of this is much, much higher. And so I wanted to start with what is a landing page? I wrote an article for Ahrefs, I think last year, about landing page SEO, and we kind of landed on a landing page is essentially kind of like a long form conversion focused page that had one specific call to action. And so I see landing page kind of as a parent theme. And then there's different types of pages that you have on your websites under this. And so the first one, and this is kind of this overview is a little bit sorted by, I would say, preciseness. And so the first one are kind of what I call industry pages. And so these are people who are very bottom of the funnel because they know what they want and they know that they want a solution specifically to them, right? And so as an industry page is someone that is looking for employee app for manufacturing, marketing or email marketing for musicians, email automation for e-commerce and retail. So they not only know what type of software they want, they also know that they have specific needs that are specific to the industry or role, and they're typing that in. And so in terms of being an interesting customer, they're probably one of the top ones. And then obviously there's your product or feature pages, which this would be more your email automation, email marketing software, job management software, performance management software, keywords. That again, these are people showing an interest that they're at least investigating, for a solution. They know they have a problem. They know they want a software. They know what type of software they want. But they haven't necessarily made up their mind yet that it should be yours. And then Similarly, the people who are already in the market shopping and comparing are the ones who might know some of your competitors. And so they're the ones that maybe they've read a few pages, they know a few tools already, and they're now digging deeper, and they might be looking for ConvertKit versus Aweber, Trello versus Asana, Asana alternative, Aweber alternative. And so again, they have a certain level of like understanding of the market and the products there and what they're used for and that they're looking for. And then there's something that I like to call solution page or use case. And so the difference in my mind between someone looking for a product feature and a use case is that a product feature is very tactical and precise, and the use case or solution is typically more benefit oriented. Like, what are people trying to do? Are they trying to save time, increase efficiency, be more effective? And my favorite example for this is on this whole feature versus benefit debate. It has always been Apple when they first released the iPod. And the entire conversation there was always like, you have 200 songs in a pocket. And that was a very benefits driven, right? They could have said something like, I don't even know, that 1 gigabyte worth of songs, probably too much. Feels like at the time nothing was 1 gigabyte, but they could have said that, and that would have been a feature, would have been precise, it would have been correct. But no one even knows what that means. You know, is that 10 songs, 20 songs, 2,000 songs? And so they've always Apple has always led kind of like communicating with benefits, and that's kind of how I see the difference between a product, a feature page that can be very precise and tactical, and then typically use case or solution pages are a bit more benefit oriented. Like, what are you trying to do with that software tool? And with that, quick snap to the next slide. The lines are incredibly blurry. Use case, industry, solution. I introduced that framework kind of like as industry as most precise, then product pages, competitor pages, and the solution pages maybe as a level of abstraction. That being said, it's not an exact science. ConvertKit themselves, they call it product use cases, and then compare what they call use cases. I maybe would have called industry or role. Some of the stuff that they call features, like for example, like for the sell digital products feature page, you know, that talks about their cart and their options to sell products. I would have probably called that more a use case, selling digital products. But I think the important thing is like to land on a framework that makes sense for you and your company, and then agree on that and stick on that. And I think that breakdown by kind of like audience, then tactical features, and kind of like use case benefit is one that makes sense. And how you exactly name it is not as important as having that structure on the back of your mind when you map out those pages.
Okay. And when we went through the audit, we were looking at all the different types of pages, the different landing pages. And when we first went into this, I actually was thinking that the feature pages were going to come out on top. But it was the competitor pages, which I find quite interesting. They are all pretty much doing quite well, ranked in the top 5 minus the link tree. But yeah, the features, you can see there's a few here, which we're going to dive into, the email sign up forms. But I just thought that this was quite interesting that, you know, the competitor page, the feature page, and then the industry pages here, like they really excel at this type of landing page. Yes. So we also noticed here that there's 13,000 referring domains to this email sign up forms. And that was like, okay, wow, that's a lot of referring domains. Thought maybe there would be a problem. Turns out that they have their links here on these little forms. So if you're adding one of these forms to your website, it'll say powered by ConvertKit or built by ConvertKit. And these links will go back to the feature page rather than the home page. So we thought that this was a kind of an interesting SEO trick that they were employing. But to dive a little bit more into these forms, this feature page is ranking 6th for email sign-up forms, 6th for subscribe forms, and 3rd for email sign-up form template. Those are pretty nice feature keywords, I think. But they also have the branded spot ConvertKit forms, number 1. So that's good. I mean, ConvertKit is big enough now that they've grown their branded search terms quite decently on a lot of their pages. If you look at a site like Salesforce or HubSpot, you'll see that like all of their keywords on these pages are quite branded. And I think that using these non-branded keywords, such as like subscribe form or email sign-up forms, can help grow your brand awareness for the different software features that you're offering to people. And the page, you can see here there's different parts of it that they're addressing. So they're speaking to their audience needs very clearly. They're speaking to creators, delivering a freebie, something that a lot of like bloggers are familiar with, or a pop-up form, having a newsletter. So they're really speaking their language about email sign-up forms to their audience, which I think kind of sets this apart. And their CTA was really clear. It was really enticing. I also wanted to click it a few times, but I was on mobile, so I didn't know if it was going to work. And I was like, okay, I'll try it later. But it was like bouncing, like, try me now, try me now. And another aspect that I liked was there was a box towards the end that said, no website yet, no problem. You can create a ConvertKit landing page, which will host for you. So you can get started building your email list. So then they link to landing pages, which is another feature page. So they're having this internal linking structure. But I think it's also a really clever way to offer their free product to people who are just getting started. They don't have a website yet. They're interested in being a creator. They want to have a newsletter or email list, but this is like, oh, okay, maybe I can do like a landing page and capture some of those emails. And if they grow their business with them, they're more likely to stay along for the ride, and hopefully become a paying customer. So they're already trying to get you right there. And then we have back to Viola.
Yeah, perfect. And then as we are looking at, actually, Helene, could you go 2 slides back where we have that overview of the landing pages one more time, please? Or one more? Yeah. So as a, oh, no, one further, exactly, perfect. As I was looking at this list, right, is you can see, okay, so they have like 8 or 9 competitor pages. They have like 8 or 9 feature pages, 4 industry pages. Obviously, their competitor pages are winning by far. And I was still in the mindset that ConvertKit is kind of like an email marketing, email automation tool, which now I'm also realizing they're doing a lot more things since I last checked them out. But so back to my slide. So one of my confusions came from is like, where does actually their email marketing software, email marketing platform keyword live? And so I looked it up. So on the bottom left, you see the Ahrefs keywords, and you see 2,400 people are looking for email marketing software, 600 people for email marketing platforms, so 3,000 people per month. It's a lot of people. But the problem basically is the screenshot on the right side. This is a screenshot from the first 10 search results. And so when someone types this in, these are the first 10 search results that come up. And you can see that not only is it a very competitive keyword, but it's also a keyword where you see comparison sites, listicle, you see that keyword best. And so if we think about the search intent that Google is assuming, Google is not thinking that people will want to make a decision and buy a software here. Google thinks that people are in the mode of comparing solutions. And so Google basically only gives kind of commercial investigation, research, comparison articles in return. And then also, interestingly enough, email marketing and software and email marketing platform pretty much has the same search results. We can already kind of see that on the titles, and potentially in the next slide, that for the 2 keywords, we actually have like, there we go. We have a screenshot on the right. We have a huge overlap in search results. So out of the 10 search results, 7 of them are the same. So Google really thinks that email marketing software and email marketing platform is the same thing, and that people first and foremost want to research and compare. It's only MailChimp with a homepage that has a pretty good spot here. And then the other screenshot that's kind of on the left, we can see that the word count on page 1 is more than 4,000 words. And so that just tells us that if we wanted to rank one of our landing pages here, it might be potentially one of those where we're banging our head against a wall for a long time, because we're not really seeing any other landing pages on page 1 right now, and it doesn't seem to be the content type that Google wants to rank today. And I think partly that has to do that ConvertKit didn't really choose a very good home for that keyword. And so the first screenshot on the top, the yellow one, shows how their messaging has evolved. And the language that they are now always using is the creator marketing platform. So creator marketing platform is pretty niche, not that high search traffic, but in there is that word marketing platform. And so the second screenshot from the top, we can see that a marketing platform keyword with 700 searches, they're trying to rank on their homepage, but they're only in position 46. But then also trying to rank on the homepage, or might be a legacy, is the email marketing platform, position 57 for ConvertKit. Now, here's the thing: marketing platform and email marketing platform, has a bunch of like overlapping words, but it does actually have zero overlap in search results. Like marketing platform is essentially, I would say, like the parent, and then email marketing platform is a part of that. And so between marketing platform and email marketing platform, there's actually no overlap on the search results, but ConvertKit has having both of them rank on their homepage. And so they basically don't stand a chance. Like the search is so competitive, it's a totally different content type, it's a different search intent, and they don't have their keywords mapped properly. And this is unfortunate because their competitor MailChimp is doing that right. MailChimp has a homepage optimized for email marketing platform. They're ranking in position 3. That's the bottom screenshot. And then they have a designated different page called marketing platform that they rank on position 4. And so I think that is a real opportunity loss for ConvertKit, thinking that they've honed in so much on that creator marketing platform, that MailChimp is the one having page 1 visibility for that keyword because they created a designated page for it, which that leads me to the golden rule of SEO success, or the first rule of the Fight Club is 1 topic per page, 1 page per topic. And I write here consciously topic because topic can be more than 1 keyword. We have seen that email marketing software and email marketing platform has a huge overlap in search results. So the 2 of them are basically mixed together into 1 topic, and you would not need to break that out into 2 pages. But the thing is, a marketing platform and email marketing platform is not the same thing. It's a different topic. It has different search intent. Each one of them would require its own page, and one of it could be the homepage. And so unfortunately, and I think this is like legacy, probably ConvertKit used to rank for email marketing platform. Now they want to change it to marketing platform, but all their links are still pointing there with email marketing platform. And so now they have a little bit of like nothingness there. And so like revising the keyword mapping, the underlying strategy for these keywords specifically would do them well. And MailChimp is really leading the way here in doing that well and ranking that well. Also on that note is a word on messaging. So when we look for marketing platform, email marketing platform, email automation, these are some of the players that constantly come up. And I just wanted to talk about preciseness and communication messaging. And so I think HubSpot, it's a CRM, it's a CMS, it's marketing automation, it's analytics. They have a pretty wide product offering by now, and they also have that for a pretty wide audience. We have clients that have tiny teams that are on HubSpot, and we have clients that have quite significant teams with like hundreds of people in there in HubSpot. And so I would say they're kind of like the widest one. And then underneath there, we have MailChimp that they say we're a marketing automation and email platform. And so they're, focusing that product offering. And then actually Aweber is going 1 step further. Aweber is saying we're email marketing and more for small business. And so again, you can see how it gets tighter and how it gets more precise. And then I think ConvertKit in many ways is the most precise one we're the email marketing platform for creators. So podcasts, authors, musicians, etc., which they are a specific type of small business, a creative small business. And so I think in that way, in terms of like finding their focus, they've really nailed it. They haven't necessarily translated that into a cohesive keyword map.
Okay. So let's dive in a bit on what a landing page needs for it to be optimized. There's a link here to a blog article that Viola wrote. It's quite good. So definitely suggest checking it out. There's a lot of good information in there. So first, you want to find your relevant keywords. This can be done by uncovering your competitors' landing pages, finding keywords with a keyword research tool. I use Ahrefs, whatever it may be. You can dig in. You can dig into your competitors, see what their keywords are, see what's working for them, what's not, and compare your site. You can compare your DR or your average sort of traffic. I don't take that completely as a source of truth on Ahrefs, but at least you can say, okay, this site is a bit similar to my site, a bit similar, like backlink profile, DR. Okay, maybe we can go after those keywords too. So you're checking that difficulty, the traffic potential. You want to design for the search intent. So a landing page is not going to look like a blog post. And if it does look like a blog post, you're probably going to decrease your conversion rate on that page. If someone is making it that far and they're making it to those keywords on your feature pages, as we said before, that's more of a middle or bottom of the funnel. They don't need a full blog post. They don't need 3,000 pages. There are some pages that are 650 words, 500 words, and they're ranking on page 1 for these transactional keywords. So I think there's definitely a balance to be made. You definitely could do 1,000 words if you want, but you be mindful of breaking it up with lots of different elements, showing off the features of your product, like using GIFs to show it in action, images to show how each of those features look like inside the software. And of course, nail your on-page SEO. All those rules apply. Doing your H1, your H2s, your alt text in your images, all the normal on-page SEO, don't ignore it. And then building good backlinks. We saw that there was a really nice backlink profile with ConvertKit for a lot of these feature and industry pages. I think they can be a bit more difficult with link building. Viola could probably talk about this a bit more. People are a little hesitant to share these kinds of pages, but I think if you get creative, there can be some really powerful ways to pull this off.
Perfect. Helene, we have a few questions in the chat, and I just want to kind of like, I think one is, Batul asked, what's the difference for you between a blog post and a landing page? And I think before we go deeper, I want to clarify that again. I think on a simple page, like a blog post, right, it's just kind of like the preset thing that you have on your website. It always looks the same, right? It has a certain template. You probably have that headline 1, you have the date, you have the author. It lives on the blog roll. And typically speaking, probably your blog content is often more middle to top of funnel, educational, could be best practices, how to do things, could be thought leadership content, could be a product announcement. Probably longer. And then the landing page really has that focus on conversion. And so I think your blog posts in many ways can be a bit limited. You can obviously have an in-text CTA in your blog, but often the layout is pretty set. You might have a sidebar, you have related posts on the bottom. Like there's like typically a few options for people to go to. And the landing page is really a conversion focused page, and everything that you're doing on that landing page is with the aim to lead people to that one next step, whether that's a free trial or book a demo. And then practically speaking in WordPress, it's typically a page. Actually, Helene, does it make sense maybe pulling up a landing page from ConvertKit? I'm always like scared stopping the screen share in the middle of the webinar. But that's kind of the thing. That being said, SEO is SEO. A headline 1 will always be a good idea to optimize, whether it's a blog post or a landing page. But the question is more like, is a landing page, going to give you what you need?
Can you see this?
Perfect. Yeah, we can see that.
Okay.
And
this
so
is
we
the
can
sign-up forms, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, like Helene's been saying, very slick. A lot more images, a lot more creative in terms of design, more tabs, more icons, etc. Just so like a much more sophisticated, conversion focused look than your blog post would ever be. Yeah. And actually, I wanted to ask answer also the question Angelina asked. So if I have more features, should each have its landing page? Should I just keep them? Should I just skip keeping them just on one page and link them there from my blog? So how do I put that? I think you should probably have like some sort of hub, domain.com/features, which is an overview of your features and where you probably have everything and anything. And then whether or not a feature deserves its own individual page probably depends on the importance of the feature. And so I don't think that every single feature always needs to have its own page. For example, often clients have a page that's called /user permissions or something like that, because they want to say that within the software, you can generate users and, make admins and have different rights. This is a page that's probably, if it's an important feature set for the use case of your client, it's probably important to have to communicate, what your software is about. It's probably a horrible idea for SEO because user permission, user rights, software with user rights, that's so abstract and far removed from anything. And so I've seen people optimize these or like file management software. I've seen some people optimize these pages for these keywords, which that would not be helpful. Like if you wanted to optimize them, it would need to be something like email marketing tool with, like different user permissions or something like that. But that being said, like I think make a hub /features where, you have the most important one on the top and kind of like list everything and anything. And then whenever a feature is like crucial for a buying decision, it probably deserves a spin-off and a designated feature page. Perfect. Yeah, so Laura also mentions worth noting that in GA, landing pages are any page that brings traffic to the site, not to be confused with what's being discussed right now. I think that's a fair point. So landing page here really is a conversion focused page. So your feature page, your solution page, your industry page. I think in GA, a landing page is kind of more like first touch point and could weirdly be a blog post. So here we're really talking like internet marketer, sign up page, feature page, landing page. Perfect. And then actually, so we have a question. How do you identify search intent? I'm sure Ahrefs does not have that feature yet. I love that. And I think this is exactly what, Helene, now you're going to look at with the examples. In terms of like, should we even attempt to rank for that keyword? Is it even, ranking difficulty and traffic potential, is it really there? Do we really have a realistic chance? And so I'll let you take it away.
Okay. So yeah, unfortunately, Ahrefs does not have user intent at the moment. SEMrush does, although they added this feature after I was using it, so I'm not sure how accurate it is. If anybody else knows, I'm interested if it's accurate. So for myself, usually I would take a keyword and you can some keywords you can kind of guess, like what is going to be the user intent after you get a lot of experience. But even that is not, don't rely on that. Enter it into keyword research, enter it into Google and see what is on that first page. So we picked a few keywords that could be feature keywords like retargeting email or email retargeting. If you look this up, you can see that this is a blog, this is a blog, this is a blog. Here's a feature page, another blog. This, well, it might be just like a pillar page, a blog, and a blog. So there's a lot of blog articles here. And what I usually assume is that Google is saying the user intent of this keyword is that people want to read these blogs. They want to read more about retargeting emails. Because when people are going there and they're searching this, those are the links that they're staying on the longest. Those are the ones that they're continuing through. So if you're like, okay, I want to do retargeting emails, well, it might not be the best choice. While MailChimp is there, they're also MailChimp. So brands that have a really massive brand awareness, I think that they can sometimes break the rules in ways that the rest of us normal humans cannot. So we looked into more examples. This is for email checker. Email checker, while it sounds like a feature, is actually more of a tool. This is something that I've encountered recently in my work, that it's a really bad keyword for a feature page, unless that feature page also includes an actual tool to check emails, because this is what people want. If you click this first link, this is a service. You can use this immediately. This free email checker, these are free tools. You can see free everywhere. So if you have an email checker as a feature, I would think twice about using it as a feature page keyword, unless you actually have maybe a freemium version of what you're doing and offering that on the page. And we looked at email list validation as well. And this one, I'm not sure if you can tell, but these are all products. So they're either product pages or product feature pages, depending on how complicated the structure is. So this would be a good one if you were selling a product and it had an email list verification. It's just by going here, checking, what's on the search results, what's there, what do these links look like, click a few of them, and then you'll see like, okay, yeah, that's what I mean, or no, that's not what I mean, because it's really easy to think like, well, I would type this if this is what I want to find on Google. And sometimes we have slightly different, use of the language or understanding of a product. But if the majority of people are thinking something slightly different, then Google is eventually going to adapt to that. So I think it's always safe bet to check through all of the first page results to see what Google wants.
Yeah. And Helene, sorry to interrupt here for 1 second. So the way I like to talk about it is like people always talk about like the Google algorithm and what does Google want and how does Google rank, and it's a black box, it's a mystery, but you got to understand Google is always showing their hand. You can understand a lot about what Google would like to see by looking on page one. That's not to say that they're almighty or they always get it right, but it's just if you're trying to make an estimation on whether or not this thing is going to work for you, probably doing something that is like similar to what Google is seeing today is a pretty safe bet. And then sometimes doing the complete opposite might work as well. But if you kind of want to play it safe and kind of with a higher likelihood of success, is like respecting when Google is returning today is probably a good bet. And don't confuse that with having to copy exactly what competitors are doing. This is why you want to have your unique messaging and unique positioning. And one of the ways this could also be done if it's also saying like everyone else thinks about it that way, but we think about it this way, and this is why. So don't just because you're taking the type of page that is currently on page one, don't feel like you need to take the typical messaging that is on page one. And again, this is probably one of the biggest strengths of ConvertKit, being so creative focused. And so they have a unique angle and they have a unique story to tell that they should be leveraging in their content so that people are very clear, hey, I'm on ConvertKit here. I'm not on MailChimp. I'm not on anywhere where I recognize this. I like this. I resonate.
Yeah, exactly. The landing page SEO tips that we have here, this is probably what's going to help you stand out. Understanding the industries that you serve, your use cases of your product, where is your target audience, what size is their company, what roles are you targeting, who's the one making the decision to purchase that product, while also looking at competitors or the integrations. So all of these here can potentially be different landing pages. And what we're suggesting is that the more long tail you can go, the more specific you can be, the more I believe that while it may decrease some traffic, it's going to increase the right traffic. It's finding the people where they are, using the language that they use, like sell for use cases, sell digital products. This I saw several times across ConvertKit. On other email marketing platforms, this is not something I see as much, but I see that it's fully integrated into ConvertKit, which they understand the culture of their target audience and their needs and what they're trying to do. So I thought that was a nice touch.
I love that. And actually, so we have a question here from Christina and Sarah, which says, if we have different intent in two different markets, for example, two different countries, what should we do? And I'm kind of curious on your thoughts around this. Is generally speaking, I would assume that you're probably replicating a pretty similar website structure across countries. just kind of like for ease of operating your website and managing your website. And then I would make a case by case decision. So if that's an absolutely crucial keyword for you and the main thing that you're driving and the main thing that is important to you, I would consider altering the page to make it longer, slightly different, maybe more listicle style if that's what's needed in one country. But I wouldn't do that, for every single page or every single like weird keyword that may or may not be different. But for the ones that are crucial for your business and that you pay a high level of attention and importance to, I would consider altering it to satisfy the two different search intents. But Helene, curious on your opinion on this, also curious to be challenged on that, and also curious, we have some really good SEOs here on as well that I would love to hear their opinion as well if you have one.
Yeah, I think that this is a challenge. A few of websites I've worked on, they want US and UK traffic. Those sometimes they can have different intent on some keywords. But I think for this, the main thing that I always keep in mind is the US being the main target, since it's a bit larger, there's a bit more information about the keywords. Usually that's the big market that the clients want. And I focus on those keywords and those things. And then eventually the UK keywords just sort of pick up along the way. I've done this on several sites and it just sort of picks them up. But I find that keeping a very specific language or keeping steady to the type of English that you're using is really important. But yeah, I'm really curious to see how others handle this, because it can be a challenge with the slight nuances between the English.
I agree. Nice. What do we have next? Perfect.
Okay, we're gonna watch for search intent. This is, oh, sorry, I'm gonna move this chat here. We have watch for search intent, keyword overlapping. There's a lot of this we talked about with the email marketing platform, email marketing software. The commercial investigation. This is the, oh yeah, for this one, sorry. I got confused for a moment. The commercial investigation of using best email marketing software, best marketing platform. This can find you on the massive listicles that we're talking about, but not the fun listicles, fun BuzzFeed. These are like the product review lists, or you see Forbes now pops up on almost every keyword somehow. So these, if you want to be, let's be the best email marketing like service, good luck. A lot of these, they're on a list of reviews, the Capterra, the G2. If you see this, I usually just say, nope, I'm not even touching this keyword, to be honest. I don't bother at all. Here, once again, we do have MailChimp and Sendinblue here, who have MailChimp, their homepage, and Sendinblue, a blog post. But it's very risky, I think, personally. To go for this is just a kind of not a great use of time. As you can see, the word count on this page is also 4,600 words. That's a lot. That's a lot of work. I don't know what you wanted to add to this. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I agree with everything that you said. Is like, I think if you're trying to rank your landing page here, it's going to be one of these scenarios where you're banging your head against a wall. And so a couple of considerations, I just remembered this, is like, obviously, if you see there's only listicles, but you're not on the listicles, consider talking to the website owners, put you on the listicles and put you higher up on the listicles. That might be a better bet of getting visibility than actually trying to rank it. And then actually what ConvertKit has been doing, they've been putting out a lot of listicles themselves. And so actually, Helene, maybe you can click on that email newsletter tools or the other one. They've been themselves starting to put out a lot of these articles, test 10, 13 best email newsletter tools, etc. And so and basically have been putting out these buying guides. And I think this is a nice one where they basically start talking about how do you make that decision based on your budget, based on your needs. And then they do go through all of their competitors. I know not everyone likes that, but I think in terms of like meeting search intent, like this would be the way to go with, kind of like creating your own listicle. And then if we go to the next slide, ConvertKit actually has done that. One back, please. Has done that actually.
Put us all the way. Sorry.
Wait. No worries. ConvertKit has done that a lot. They have done, so they have this email newsletter tools article, they have the creator tech stack article, and now the next slide. They have a bunch of articles that author platforms, best cheap email marketing tool, coaching tools, online course platforms, music marketing tools, webinar platform, best blogging platform. So everything that sounds kind of like commercial investigation best, they actually started putting out their own listicles. And you can see in the third column, the word count. Actually, now I remember, there might be a little bug with this, but generally speaking, they're very, very long articles. And so if you do only see listicles on page one, make sure you're on the listicles. 2, consider making your own listicle, but it is a different strategy and it's a different path to conversion. It's not as straightforward for then to someone sign up to you. And I think the mindset is more buying guide and telling people what to consider when making these decisions.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. I did want to talk a little bit about competitor pages and ranking for competitor keywords, because we've seen that ConvertKit is really, really good at this, and they've been winning a lot of these keywords. And so the first thing is you're probably not going to be position 1 for your competitor's brand name, just because that's typically what they rank for. And so what we're talking about is more keywords like competitor alternative, ConvertKit versus MailerLite, ConvertKit versus MailChimp, switching from MailChimp type keywords. And so kind of similar how with the features, just from a kind of like SEO perspective and structure perspective, you probably want to start with like a hub as kind of like the parent page. That could be like ConvertKit.com/versus, and then create basically a page template, which again, that competitor page is also like a landing page typically. And so I think the temptation is essentially writing an article that says we are better. We're Asana and we're better than Trello. We're ConvertKit and we're better than MailChimp. And I think that's fine. However, talking how you're the best usually leaves people feel a little bit awkward. And so if you do make these competitor pages, I would recommend focusing on letting others do the talking. So how much social proof and reviews can you embed there? Ratings, if you have aggregated ratings from G2, Trust Radius, Capterra, and you're better than your competitors, that should be on there. If people vote for you in online communities on LinkedIn, that should be on there. Case studies, customer stories, that should be on there. And I think one of my favorite pages in that regard is the Ahrefs page, Ahrefs versus SEMrush and Moz, which are basically the top 3 SEO tools, and they compare that. And instead of saying Ahrefs is the best, they have that 8 unique things you can only do with Ahrefs. And for me, that is like a phenomenal angle for these competitor pages, because that again allows you to come back to your messaging and come back to the things that you uniquely do. And so I think that's, if you're thinking about creating that page template, that is really the angle that I would recommend for you to take. And then also, because we have a lot of clients that are kind of like in the enterprise market, B2B enterprise, this is also the page where you want to communicate enterprise readiness, especially if your competitors are not. So compliance, accessibility, security. If you're specifically for a small business, this probably is also a communication around price, for example. I would assume that ConvertKit might still be cheaper than HubSpot, et cetera. So that might be, the equivalent, talking about price for a very, very small business. And then again, obviously you want to optimize your URL structure, page title, meta description, headline, one body content. And you can play kind of like with the versus, alternative, competitor, switching from. Especially for example, this is on the left is a screenshot from Asana. A lot of people, for example, switching a project management tool, same like email tool, is like a huge pain. And the biggest pain is around obviously extracting your old data and then importing it into the new one. And so that's worthwhile focusing on. And then on the right is one, European company, Gemelius, that is competing with Zendesk, specifically highlights that they're GDPR compliant and California Privacy Act compliant. And so what are some unique things that you can bring to the table that your competitors are not bringing, and making that the angle of your competitor pages is what we strongly encourage. Perfect. Curious, yeah, if anyone else has any thoughts on competitor pages that they would like to add. I know, Rebecca, you've built a bunch of competitor pages. I think other people have too. Would love to hear that. And then I just kind of like close out on that keyword free. And so I think, let's say in the enterprise, B2B enterprise world, free is not a very popular keyword. And I would probably remove that from your entire website, just in terms of like, what is the type of traffic that you're getting? It is interesting though that ConvertKit is freemium. And so they specifically have a page, convertkit.com/free, to talk about the fact that they have a free option, I think up until 1,000 subscribers. And I think part of the reasons they're doing this is because MailChimp obviously has a very, very strong free plan, and a lot of people are on it. And that's a very, not just MailChimp as a competitor for them, but specifically the free plan of MailChimp. And so I think it's a bit of a lost opportunity on the left side that the page convertkit.com/free only basically ranks for the branded term. Whilst again, MailChimp is ranking extremely well for all free related keywords, though knowing what we know today, I don't know how happy MailChimp is today with the fact that they mapped the free keyword on their homepage. I would think if they could look at it again today, they would prefer having mailchimp.com/free and having that keyword live there, and kind of like have more of that email marketing software kind of like intent on the homepage than that free. But live and learn, I suppose. But I think ConvertKit has an opportunity there, trying to optimize their specific free page for some non-branded keywords. All right. I don't think we made a agreement on who's going to talk about this. But to kind of like summarize, so today was kind of like an hour talking about landing pages, which again, your landing page is your conversion focused page. It's your feature page, your product page, your industry page. And we can see that ConvertKit has nailed that with their competitor pages. But they're struggling with some of their feature pages because there's just so many other page types out there. And they've kind of like worked around that by putting out a lot of these listicles instead, because that's what on page one. So how come, despite all that, or in the midst of that, they have so much organic traffic and they've been growing so consistently over the last 2 or 3 years, is because they have, I think Helene showed that 60% of their pages are blog content, or even more, 70. So they put out a lot of blog content, and their blog is really their home for top of funnel keywords. And so, this was a webinar where we wanted to talk more about landing pages, but of course there's a whole rest of the funnel to create, visibility and touch points. They do think like a decent job as always bringing it back to this: the future belongs to creators, monetize your creative business, you deserve it. That being said, I do think some of their top of funnel terms are potentially a little bit abstract. And so just a reminder, SEO is also more than clicks, and kind of like, even with these more abstract top of funnel terms, you do want to tie it back to your messaging and what you're actually offering. Helene, do you have any closing words on that, or are you good with that?
No, I think, yeah. I think it makes sense.
Then I click. So what have we discussed today is landing page is kind of like the parent for a whole set of pages: feature pages, solution pages, industry pages. In most cases, it's probably worthwhile going long tail on this and having like very, very specific keywords. If you landing page SEO is like any other SEO in the sense like you need to put your keyword in the headline one, you need to put your keyword in the body content. The most important part for landing page SEO compared to a blog post, I think, is that question is like, should I be doing a landing page to begin with? Is the landing page really the answer to that search query? What is that search intent? Is it commercial investigation, listicle? Is it a free tool that people can use straight away? Do I see other product and feature and landing pages there? Or do I only see home pages? And so I think really keyword per keyword, looking on page one, looking at what Google is showing and then making a decision from there, that's the crucial point. Because assigning a keyword to a landing page is easy. You know, convertkit.com/email automation should rank for email automation software. That is very easy. But being sure that this is actually a decision that you can win and that's worthwhile going after and that's worthwhile putting energy into, that is really, really the tricky part. And it is much more of a case by case game here. I think we have around 4 minutes. So if you have any burning questions right now, you know, now is kind of like your chance to put them into the chat room and kind of like, you know, get another minute or two of our time to talk about it. Otherwise, you know, there's always our email address to talk after. Viola@flow-seo.com, Helene@flow-seo.com. Obviously very, very passionate about this, very interested in this, very nerdy about this, and would love to keep the conversation going. If you're not following Helene on LinkedIn yet, now is the time. If you're not following her on Search Engine Journal yet, now is the time. And, you know, we would love to see you around for another one of these webinars.